Hi, my name is Hamza Ahmed and I'm with Apex DECA and I'm here to present my project for the Herff Jones Challenge.
So, as with previous years of buying, Apex, the school population has actually been decreasing. You know, with our senior class has went from about 750 kids to 450 kids, which is one of the main reasons our sales have actually been going down a bit. But besides the class changing, you know, mainly our yearbook sales kind of fluctuate, they don't change too drastically. The only time they change is basically when we have this huge change in senior class size. Other factors that actually affect these changes are the cost of the books, which are $80. Not everyone wants to cough up $80 to buy a new book, and for what? Because everyone has these free social media websites such as Instagram and Snapchat, and they can just keep their memories there, so they don't really have that interest in the yearbook. And the process for making the yearbook, we actually have a class here at Apex dedicated to making yearbooks, and everything is fully digital now, so it doesn't even take them that much time. The only thing that takes them the most time is probably just going to classes, taking interviews from other kids and stuff like that. Reputation at our school for yearbook is actually fairly high. We are given many awards by Justin's, and when we talk about the demographic from grade level wise, our main sales come from freshmen and seniors, mainly because freshmen, it's their first year and they want to know maybe later down the line they buy a yearbook and say, oh, this is what I look like before, this is what I look like after. And seniors is obviously their last year, which is why they want that yearbook. One of the hardest parts to market are sophomores and juniors, because they don't really want to cough that money, and they're always like, oh, it's not my first year or my last year, so I can just wait. One of our main ways that we market to them is, how else are you going to remember your senior friends or your freshman friends? Maybe you might forget them later on down the line. Maybe you want to know, hey, I knew this guy, he was a senior, but if you buy your yearbook later as a senior, you won't see them then. Other ways that that students can be divided in yearbook sales besides their grade level is their economic status. Not everyone has the money to afford a yearbook, even if they wanted a yearbook, considering it's $80. And also on top of that, there's also a lot of racial diversity here at Apex High School, and everyone has different racial preferences, and they all have different cultures, and they all value different things. So that might be preventing them from buying a yearbook as well. One of the main things, in my opinion, that we can do to increase yearbook sales is, get on social media. We need to start advertising on social media, start pushing on people where they can actually see these campaigns, because most of our campaigns are throughout the hallway, and not everyone stops to look at a sign in the hallway. And just make it worth their buying. Make them feel like that what they're buying is actually useful to them. So one of the main things that attracts students to the yearbook, which is one of our main selling points, is that yearbook lasts forever. Versus if we talk about photos like Instagram and Snapchat, they can be accidentally deleted, they can get lost somewhere, people can get a hold of them, and a bunch of things can happen with that. Versus with yearbooks, it's always there with you, and you have it, and you can cherish it. And people also write messages in your yearbooks. People can't really write messages on your pictures in Instagram and Snapchat because that would ruin the pictures. But in yearbook, there's always this special thing that's attached to you, and it has a special meaning, and it reminds you of that time. And lastly, one of the most efficient ways that we found to reach out to parents was email, because parents always check their emails. We have this thing here at Apex High School called Cougar Notes, which is a rundown of everything that's happening at Apex High School weekly, and we sometimes talk about yearbook in there, and a bunch of parents read that. It's very effective, and it gets the parents, because they're the ones coughing up the money, they feel like they're obliged to give students their money after reading those emails. So last year, sales-wise, we had about 2,300 students, and we sold about 1,500 yearbooks toward the end of the year. But at this point, toward the end of November, we only had sold about 300 yearbooks, versus right now where we have 2,000 students. Right now we've sold about 350 yearbooks, and that doesn't seem like a very huge increase percentage-wise, but if you look at it proportionally, we sold 300 yearbooks for 2,300 students last year at this point in time, versus 350 yearbooks for 2,000 students right now.
Thank you for taking the time to watch my video and review my project. I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.